That is live. We are back. Talking Nets. Episode 107. Nets in 5. Gentlemen's sweep. Now let me tweet out the link so people can pull up. All right. Fuck. My allergies have randomly come back. I thought we were past that. It's June. Let's go Talking Nets. Nets in 5 gentlemen sweep episode. Okay. Share this. Copy. What's up, Jared? I see you. Nets, baby. Let's go, Nets, baby. You right about that. We are going to the next round. Okay. We're live. Let's see. We're live. Join us. We talk about the Nets. And yeah, I got to go back to the shore area today too. So this will probably just be a 30-minute episode. And then tomorrow we'll be right back to preview the Bucks series. Okay. I don't know if y'all can see. I got the Nets level up towel. I got the Brooklyn Strong towel, and you can't see, but this was last night's towel. All right. I thought I lost my mic for a second. I did, but we're back now. All right. Got a couple people in there. Let me retweet this. That adds some fuel. Saw Malika Andrews. Saw Frank Isola. And I'm a clown in there. I'll be running around there.
Danny Ainge.
I love it because I'm so used to doing my laps in Yankee Stadium, which like to do a lap around the 100 levels, 200 level at Yankee Stadium, that takes you like 10 minutes. To do a lap around the Barclays Center, that takes 5 minutes, not even. And so I just kept running into people. It was a good time. Shout out to all the Talkin Nets fans that I ran into. I try to remember people's names. I ask their names and then I forget, but it's okay. Nets level. All right, time to start the show. Okay, we'll do the lead in. Slick Nick says, did you see Joe dropping dimes? I seen a bunch. Shane Larkin is in the chat. What? Former Net Shane Larkin? What? Shane? What up, Shane? Hold up, Shane. I didn't know you was a Talking Nets fan, bro. Yo,
EuroLeague champ,
what
Shane
up,
Larkin.
Barry's kid? Y'all know Barry Larkin? I don't know if y'all watch baseball, but Shane Larkin and Barry Larkin, those are two guys that I'm a fan of. Swamp Dragon, stand here. All right, let's do it. Let's actually do the pod now. Because I've been recording on my end for a while. Let me just delete all of this that I've recorded and go back to the top. Recording now. Yes. Okay, here we go. Me. Sorry, I got allergies, got the coffee. I need to get, actually, someone asked, I think Sarge asked if we could get new Talking Nets mugs with the Basquiat. I definitely need to do that. Okay. 30-minute episode, and we'll be back tomorrow with another episode. Okay, ready? Ready? Yes, I see the chat is popping. Oh, Sarge is in the chat. Yeah, Sarge asked for the new Talkin Nets mug. If we can get one of these with the Basquiat, fire. I'll work on
That'd be
it.
too clean. Too clean.
I don't make those decisions. I don't make those calls though. All right, let's do this. Here we go. Talkin Nets, episode 107. Nets in 5. That's a gentleman's sweep. What a time last night in the Barclays Center. I had a blast. I ran into Malika Andrews, Frank Isola. I was in the block with the Brooklyn Brigade, saw a bunch of Nets fans, saw a bunch of Talkin Nets fam. I appreciate the love that people show me when they see me. They'd be looking for Hudson, but I told him Hudson's all the way in Albany, bro. Like, he's not here. He will eventually get here. So the Nets handle business. They close out the Celtics last night. We advance and move on to the second round to meet the Bucks. What we're going to do here on this episode is just talk about this series and really game 5 and, what we thought about the first round. And then we'll be right back tomorrow with a Bucks preview episode. Talkin Nets. Let's get it. Brooklyn, we go hard. Brooklyn, we go hard. Brooklyn, we go hard. All right, here we go. Got my Bluetooth ready for audio, and here we go. Yes, sir. Welcome back to Talkin Nets, episode 107. Keith McPherson and Hudson Flynn joining you on a Wednesday morning. It's June now. It's June 2nd. Your Brooklyn Nets have defeated the Boston Celtics. Of course it was the Celtics. Of course we had to smack them. And in dramatic fashion, stepping on Lucky, fans getting arrested and held, and, Jason Tatum getting poked in the eye, and guys getting hurt and going down, and Evan Fournier is a clown. That's a bar right there. Hudson Flynn, can you say hello to the people?
Man, what is up, everybody? It's a good morning to be a Nets fan. The sun is out. The Nets are moving on to the second round for the first time since 2014. It feels good to be a Nets fan. James Harden took over last night. We got rid of the Celtics, threw them off like water off a duck's back. It was just too easy for the Nets. We gave them that one win just to be nice. Didn't want to be too rude about the sweep. Break out the gentleman's sweep. And man, I feel good, Keith. And if you're a Nets fan, you should feel good too, because that was just the prelude. That was just the prologue. That was just the introduction. The real playoffs start this weekend against the Bucks, because that's going to be serious. If you were stressed out in the Celtics series, it's going to be on a whole different level during this Bucks series. And I'm ready for it. I'm ready for the energy. I'm ready for Giannis. I want all the smoke. Let's get it, Keith.
We want all the smoke. We want all the smoke. Oh, yeah. Rich the Kid performed at halftime yesterday. I forgot that. That was cool. He did a plug walk. He had it jumping in there. There weren't as many rappers yesterday. We'll talk about yesterday's crowd in a minute. But first, no news, no narratives. We're just going to take a look around the association. The NBA, the National Basketball Association, the NBA playoffs, and give you some updates. Like I said, we encourage you to watch all these playoff games. We encourage you to watch every NBA playoff game and just see how other teams are playing and what is going on, and not just be tunnel vision on the Nets. Obviously, you're a Nets fan. You're going to watch all the Nets games, but some interesting stuff has been developing. So let's start in the West, right? Last night, the Nuggets beat the Blazers in overtime after Damian Lillard went absolutely crazy. Like, to go crazy like that and lose in overtime, like, he should just want to be out of Portland. I just wouldn't want to be in Portland anymore after that. But Nikola Jokic, Aaron Gordon, Michael Porter Jr., and who else is on that team? I don't know. Oh, Jamal Murray, but he's hurt. They win the game, 147-140. Now Denver leads the series 3-2. And I don't really care to see the Nuggets do anything without Jamal Murray, but good for them and their fans and their home crowd. That was an epic one last night. I caught the end of it when I got back home from the game. The Suns beat the Lakers. I'm gonna chill on that. But Suns beat the Lakers 115-85. Phoenix leads that series 3-2 now. No AD last night. Some of you Bron fans, some of you trolls that love to reply to Talkin Nets and say Lakers in 4, Lakers in 5 for the last 3-4 months. Like, goofies, chill. 2 nights ago, the Jazz beat the Grizzlies 120-113. The Jazz should handle business. The one game they lost was a game without Donovan Mitchell. They lead that series now 3-1. The Mavs and the Clippers, that's an intriguing series. The Mavs go up 2-0. You start thinking some things. I even laughed at the Clippers on here. I was like, can't believe this. But the Clippers have fought back. That series is tied 2-2, and they play tonight. Now to the East, obviously, you know your Brooklyn Nets closed the series against the Celtics in 5 games. That's over with. You obviously know the Bucks swept the Heat. That's over with. We'll meet them. And like I said, tomorrow we will have a preview episode where we will talk about the players, the matchups, the arenas, the history. Cool. The Wizards beat the Sixers a couple nights ago. I don't know if y'all watched that game, but as a Nets fan, you should definitely have watched that game. There were some intriguing things about that Sixers team, that matchup. Ben Simmons, Mona Lisa looking ass, he can't shoot his free throws. Embiid goes down, and that changes their whole team. The Wizards shouldn't even be in the playoffs. They won that game 122-114. That's probably the last game they win. I expect Doc Rivers and Cork Maz and Shake Milton and those guys to come out ready to play. I don't think Embiid should play another game for the Sixers in that series, but I think if the Sixers go into that game with Dwight Howard and, they know that Embiid's not going to be playing, that they can handle the Wizards. And the Wizards, I think, are banged up. I think Bertans got hurt in that game. We'll see. But the Sixers are up 3-1. They play tonight. And last but not least, the Madison Squares host the Hawks tonight. And it could be all that she wrote. Hawks are up 3-1. Clint Capella was out there talking heavy. He knows what time it is, and I'll be tuned into that one tonight for sure. That's interesting, and that's all we've got for Around the Association. Hudson, any thoughts on the NBA playoffs, what you've seen so far? Any thoughts on the rest of the teams? Obviously, we're locked in on the Nets, but anything else that has piqued your interest?
I mean, the West, right? The East isn't really giving people much to talk about. Obviously, there was all the smoke coming from Knicks fans. We'll see you in the A. We'll see what happens then. Nothing good happened then for them. It's a 3-1 series, couple 3-1 series, and then a sweep. So it's really not that many interesting games, right, in the Eastern Conference. But if you look at the West, that's where real basketball was being played. And I want to talk about that Mavs-Clippers series. I thought the Mavs were going to go up 3-0 the way they started off that one game they played 2 games ago. And now it's a tie series. They flipped home court on their head. And, man, it's just fun. It's just fun to watch the Western Conference playoffs. It's a shame that we have to stay up so late to do it. But there's some good narratives coming out of there. The Lakers, can they not win without Anthony Davis? Was he the most crucial piece to that, that championship run in the bubble? It's looking like he might be. I mean, if Jay Crowder getting so deep in LeBron's head that LeBron's not even finishing games, that's tough. But look, you want good basketball, you're looking at the West right now. They had all of us staying up late last night. KD, after the game, was talking about what a spiritual experience it was to watch Damian Lillard play last night. And that's just good basketball. That's just fun times. And it's cool to see that the playoffs in the first round are delivering some good matchups, because they sure aren't in the East. And, we're basketball fans here, right? I remember last year in the bubble when the Nets were starting Rodions Kurucs at the 5 against the Raptors. We were just begging for any type of good basketball, any type of competitive basketball. And now we're getting some, and that's always good. It's always fun. But look, the biggest stories are in the West, but this is a Nets podcast, and I'm excited. I'm going to break some news on the podcast. I don't know if you saw this. Keith, your friend, the man you met last night, Boston Celtics president of basketball operations, Daniel Ainge, is, quote, seriously considering his future with this franchise and could make the decision to step down, sources tell ESPN. All those assets,
Hey,
all
yo.
those draft picks, couldn't do nothing with them. Ooh, Danny Ainge.
What did I do yesterday morning? I went and clipped a random clip from Talkin Nets. Honestly, I just tapped on YouTube and was like, okay, I'll illustrate this part. And it was basically me, laughing at Danny Ainge. You and I laughing at him. Oh, he didn't hear any racism. Oh, I don't know who threw the water bottle type of stuff. And then I also called him out for riding on Doc Rivers in that Big Three championship. You had it all, Danny Ainge. And I said, maybe you need a new coach. Maybe you need to get off that seat and step down. And look where we are. You love to see it. I ran into a guy with a green jacket on and white hair in the elevator yesterday. And I definitely threw everybody off in the elevator. I'm like, Danny Ainge. They knew it wasn't Danny Ainge, but good. I just love the Celtics being miserable, right? What a miserable week for these guys. Their mascot's face got stepped on by Kyrie, who they absolutely hate the most. And now Danny Ainge is about to get up out of there. So great. Let's move on and talk about this game and this series, right? So I want to lead in like this. Game one was a slow start for the Nets. It was the first game in Brooklyn with the Big Three in the playoffs. People talking about chemistry and how will they gel and will these guys be able to do it? Will they be great? And Hudson and I pretty much were telling you, like, yo, these are like high IQ basketball players, some of the best players like all time on one team. They'll be fine. And they were. Nets won that first game, game one. Game two was the Joe Harris game. Joe Harris went absolutely insane that first half. I was there. I couldn't believe my eyes. Joey Buckets was hurt the last week of the season. And I even spoke on maybe he shouldn't be a starter. Take it back. He turned it on. And that's what they didn't want. The big four. Nets win that game two. Tatum gets poked in the eye. Robert Williams goes down with an ankle. And then we also lose Jeff Green. Then we got to go to Boston. And all the talk around Boston, Kyrie comes out in the postgame. He says, hey, just keep it basketball. Let's just keep it basketball. You know how it is out there. And I know some of our Yankee fans listening know how it is in Fenway. Know what Adam Jones said. Know what Torrey Hunter said. Know what CeCe Sabathia said. It's not like Kyrie was making something up about Boston and Boston fans. And we go out in game three. Tatum goes off, gives us a 50 burger. Kyrie struggles. Their 33% capacity fans get what they want. They get to boo Kyrie and watch him struggle, and the Nets lose. They got one. We gonna give y'all one because we're gentlemen. KD balled out in that game, and Harden got activated in that game. The biggest thing for me in game three was that Harden showed us, hey, I'm good. I know I missed a lot of time with the hammy. Like, this is what you're going to get from our MVP. Cool. So we go into game four. And in game four, it was the bounce back that we all expected, we all needed. And in my opinion, that was the most important game of the series because if you lose that game, the series is tied. Kyrie comes out with the red Mamba Kyries, and you already knew he was going to go and get 40, 39-point performance out of him. Harden had 18 assists, was doing his thing, having his way. KD obviously leading all scorers in the NBA playoffs. He was averaging 35 points. Might have went down a little bit after last night, but that's fine. The Nets set themselves up for the gentleman's sweep in game five. After Kyrie steps on Lucky's face, you got guys like KG coming out to defend a cartoon. You got guys like Glenn Big Baby Davis saying that he disrespected everyone that played for the franchise and he better chill before things get serious in real life. Like, come on, just stop. Paul Pierce, I think, came out and said something too. It's like, you heads are wild goofy. You're defending a cartoon character over your own race, but we won't take the podcast that way because it's over. That series is over and their season is over. And we ended it last night in Brooklyn. Hudson Flynn, tell me your thoughts in the Twitter sphere. Tell me your thoughts holding it down for Talkin Nets, getting our fans on Nets Twitter fired up, firing off clips and highlights, and just stirring the pot last night on the tweet streets.
So certainly there was one narrative, but I'll hold that to the end because I know Keith has something to say about this one particular narrative that I'll just tease now. But honestly, that was not a very exciting basketball game. The Nets pulled away in the fourth quarter. That was good, but if I'm being honest, the vibe was kind of just like, okay, we're done with this team. Don't play with your food and all, but it was not really the most exciting game of basketball anyone's ever watched. It was kind of just a blech game. The Nets pulled away a couple of times, then they let the Celtics crawl back in it until the fourth quarter when they finally pulled all the way away. Really, not that many takeaways to take from it, but I will say Nick Claxton, at least in this series, showed that he belonged in the rotation for the playoffs. Now, things are going to be different in the next round. The Bucks are a bigger team. They have all that size advantage. But Nick Claxton showed that he belonged. He played some good quality minutes, and there was a stretch of about 5 minutes where all I was doing was posting Clax highlights. He had dunks. KD threw him a lob. It was just great to see for the young kid. And that started a lot of conversations on Nets Twitter about, well, maybe should he slot in at the 5 instead of Brooklyn Blake, who hasn't necessarily had his best series up here against the Celtics. Now, I would understand that narrative, that argument, if we were going to a game 6, but we're going up against the Bucks. Things are going to be changed. Things have to be changed. We love Clax. We need to see what he's able to do against the Bucks, I think, before we insert him into the starting lineup. But we'll talk about that for our series preview, doing a little series review today. And honestly, if you're looking from a Nets perspective, all they did was go out and get the win. James Harden beasted out, triple-double. The Nets' first playoff triple-double, the 11th all-time, other 10 with Jason Kidd, obviously. And that was obviously some beautiful, beautiful basketball coming from him. It was fire. I enjoyed watching him play, as we all did. But really, the biggest narrative was the Barclays Center. And look, we don't like talking about the fans because that's the New York Icks argument. We don't, we got all these fans. That fans doesn't equal wins, doesn't equal rings, doesn't equal anything. But the narrative on Nets Twitter was, hey, Barclays, you sound a little quiet. And we're lucky, we're blessed to have our very own Keith McPherson on the podcast, who was actually at Barclays last night at the game, hopefully contributing to some of that noise that we did hear on the broadcast. But for a lot of the game, Keith, it wasn't crickets, but it certainly didn't sound like a 17,000 person crowd. Can you tell us what it was like to be in there?
Yeah, and so I'm a stadium guy. I'm an arena guy. I go to Yankee Stadium 40, 50 times a year. I'm going to be going to more Nets games now that we're back in there and, it's playoffs and all that. And I mean, I know the ropes. I know my way around the stadium. I know when a stadium is rocking. I know when a stadium is quiet. And what I basically figured out last night was a few things, right? So the Nets put out a free beer promo. One, it's getting late in the season, and they probably have so many cans of beer in that place that they didn't sell that they could afford to give some away. And they did a promotion where it was, show up between 5:30 and 6:30 and you get a free voucher for a complimentary beer. I did that. I was in there. I think I was in there before 6 o'clock. And I was in there early enough where I got a beer, did a lap, came back and got another free voucher and got a second beer on the house. Shout out to Alexis. I met Alexis last night. She listens to Talkin Nets. She did the same thing, got 2 free beers, finessing. But the free beer thing was to try and get people to show up early. Now, I was at game 2 and game 5, and I went to the last Saturday game. The thing about the Barclays Center, it's a few things, right? It's a Tuesday night game at 7:30. People have work, people have school, people have other things. It doesn't get packed in there early. Like, it's pretty quiet in there for warm-ups. Now, other NBA arenas, even like Yankee Stadium has a lot of people in there for batting practice. People show up early. The Nets are still developing their culture, and they're still fighting COVID, and they're still fighting these restrictions. So it's just like the arena is empty. And last night, tickets were cheap. My friend Christian went to the game. He's a Knicks fan. I think our guy JJ went to the game late. He got tickets. And I think I looked on Game Time, and there were tickets available for like 50 or 60 bucks. So there were some cheap tickets available for casuals or for people that were just trying to go see a closeout basketball game that might not have been Nets fans. I saw a lot of Celtics fans in there, And what I really saw was a lot of fans in there watching the game like they were at the movie theaters, sitting in their seats, not waving their towels. And I mean, you talk about me, I'm in there like, yeah, let's go Nets, Brooklyn. The whole time, like that's just what I do. I go from the bleachers in Yankee Stadium with the bleacher creatures to the block in Barclays Center with the Brooklyn Brigade. I'm turned up. Like, you guys see the videos. Like, I'm trying to get people fired up. We're chanting the whole time in that section, but I'm observing people that are just there observing. They're just there watching. So it was a little quieter. And I think it was because this was the closeout game. We knew this series was over. And the Nets, we were just waiting for the Nets to pull away. And once the Nets pulled away in the second half, in the fourth quarter, then people started getting out of their seats. Then people were more comfortable. Then people got into it. And honestly, you know, these arenas are stages. Everyone can see you in there. Not everyone is comfortable standing up, yelling, clapping, screaming. And yeah, it was a little quieter, but I attribute that to, like I said, the culture is still developing. They like to say we don't have any fans. Well, we have fans. It takes time to get to Brooklyn and get into the stadium. And we don't have decades worth of fans because the team hasn't even been in Brooklyn for a decade. So all of this is culture building. Hopefully there were some fans in there last night that became Brooklyn Nets fans, and we'll see more of an early audience in there going forward in the Bucks series. But like, I don't care about that shit at all, honestly. Like, I'm a Nets fan. I'm in there. When I'm in there, I'm yelling, I'm screaming, I'm running around. What I loved about the Barclays Center last night, the free beers, the vibes of the fans, people that came up, they're just like, yo, Talkin Nets. Yo, that's Keith. Yo, where's Hudson? Talkin Nets, bro. Keep working. And like, people literally saying like, keep grinding, keep doing what you guys are doing. You guys are the voice of Nets fans. Love the pod. Love the Twitter. Love the YouTube. Like, that's why we did all of this. And we're blessed to be here for this run with this team. And we're going to keep going. Like I said, I ran into Frank Isola. He was cool. I called him out on video for being a Knicks fan because he used to write for the Knicks. He has hella Knicks energy in him. But he said he's not a Knicks fan. I ran into Malika Andrews. So nice. Like, I fanboyed out. Like, I saw Malika Andrews, and she's like, she's not trying to be seen in there. Like, she knows she's a very good looking woman. She knows that she's very popular. She knows that, like, you know, these dudes are creeps. So like, when I approached her, I approached her with the like, hi Malika, like, my name's Keith. I do a podcast called Talkin Nets. We retweet all your stuff. Can I get a picture with you? And like, honestly, I botched the picture. It could have been clearer, but my hand was shaking a little bit. I didn't get the best picture, but it still counts. I got the pic, saw Malika Andrews, the Yes Network crew. Everything in there was cool, was right. And the Nets advanced to the next round. And we want more people to come out, and we want more people to join in on this. It's only going to get better, right? Not every team advances. Like, less teams make it to the next round. What is there? 8 teams in the next round? And the Nets are one of them. It's going to be lit. It's going to be turned up. You should get more casuals. And hate to say it, when the New York Bricks end up losing tonight, I bet you some of their goofy ass fans start making their way to the Barclays Center. I bet you they be in there. Hudson Flynn, your words and thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, first off, when you posted that photo with Malika Andrews, the amount of thirst, I swear, Nets fans are down astronomical. They are down horrendous.
They were hating on me too.
Goodness. They were like, oh, why
me.
Can't
this
it be
clown,
me? Should have been me.
Lucky as hell, man. You're a lucky MFer. Can't believe this guy got to Malika Andrews before me. How about you leave the house? Get out of your basement. Maybe you, like, she was right there. And
get a profile picture that's not just a photo of someone, you know, on the team.
Like,
but
maybe Malika Andrews had seen me before on Twitter from Talkin Nets, retweeting all her Brooklyn Nets tweets. And where she is in a press area. It's roped off. And I know what I'm doing. Like, I saw her come in, and I approached her right as she was getting set up before they could rope off her area. It wasn't my first rodeo, fellas. Y'all wouldn't have been able to pull that off.
I mean, look, it was a vibe, though. It was a vibe. But I would say, among all of the happiness of getting that gentleman's sweep, there was one bad thing from last night, a little bittersweet. That was the last night of Iron Eagle, Sarah Kustok, and Michael Grady being on the play-by-play and color and courtside analysis of the season. What a season. They really did help us through the pandemic. If there was ever a time when you would lean on your color commentary, on your play-by-play commentators, on them just being in the arena, it would have been this season. It would have been the pandemic season when the arena wasn't full, and they killed it, man. It was just, obviously, we've got a great relationship with the Yes Network. We love all of them. They've been on the podcast. But man, they spoil us as Nets fans. They're so good at what they do, and they bring such a fun edge to watching the Nets play. And it's a shame that we're done with them, and it's really a double shame because the national broadcasts are consistently garbage, consistently horrendous. But I just want to say thank you. I sent out a tweet last night. I know some people from the Yes Network are listening because they love us, they support us. Thank you to the Yes Network for keeping us with it this season, for showing us what it was like in the stadium, even when there were no fans there. And then when we came, being so grateful, taking photos with everyone. I remember when me and Keith were at the arena, Sarah Kustok was running all over the place. She was taking photos with everybody. She was talking to us, and we were just trying to be like, "Hi, Sarah." And then someone says, "Sarah," and she runs over to them. And they were just so gracious, so grateful, and just such a great group of people. And, as a Nets fan, as an NBA fan, I couldn't be more proud to have them be the voice of Nets basketball.
They're the best in the world, the Nets world. They're the best crew calling NBA games with the best team in the NBA. And they're just good people. Last summer, when we were doing this podcast during the pandemic, during the Black Lives Matter movement, I reached out to the Yes Network, and the first guest on this podcast was Iron Eagle, and the Yes Network connected that for me. The Yes Network has done so much for me. Like, I can't even begin to really put into words how much they've helped me in my life and my career, Talkin Nets, my Yankees stuff. So many solid people there, not just the broadcast crew of Iron Eagle, Ryan Rucco, Sarah Kustok, Michael Grady, Chris Sheeran, Frank Isola, Richard Jefferson, but also the guys behind the scenes, Josh Isaac, Kevin Sullivan, even Jessica Musamano. Like, there's just a lot of people in the Yes Network that have looked out and shown love. And it sucks that we have to listen to the national broadcast for the rest of the way out. I can't do TNT. I can't do ESPN. If you guys watched the live stream with me Saturday, I was listening to Yes, because they're great. And you know what? They also just set a good example for people like us. We're coming up in this Nets world, and we see how humble Iron Eagle is, how humble Sarah Kustok, Michael Grady is. When you see them in person, they take pictures, they take videos, they smile, they're happy to see you. And that's what I hope Hudson and I can be when you guys run into us at Barclays or at Tailgate Brooklyn, at wherever it might be. Let's go back to the game, because we can't forget the one and only Mr. Whammy. Mr. Whammy was in the building last night. That's how you know we were all right. It doesn't matter if they were quiet in there. Mr. Whammy was going in. Mr. You're Gonna Miss. And the Whammy magic worked. When the second half came and the Celtics were shooting at the side that Mr. Whammy was on, we all got behind Mr. Whammy, and Jabari Parker missed 2 free throws in a row. And Mr. Whammy and Mrs. Whammy, shout out to her as well, were turned up. So you love to see the Nets super fan in the building for the Nets to close it out. I had a great time last night, and I think now it's time to transition into some voicemails. There's not much to talk about as far as stats and in this game. Harden led all scorers. I think in the post game last night, I said something like Harden wanted this to be over quickly. He was taking what he wanted, shooting a 3, getting dunks. Kyrie with 25, KD with 24, Joe Harris with 10, Bruce Brown with 23 minutes, almost 24 minutes off the bench with 10. Nick Claxton missed a dunk that I just was like, bro, oh my God. He missed that dunk, and I was like, I needed that dunk because that would have really turned the place up. Tyler Johnson had his only 3 points was a great 3 when we needed it. Shamit got some decent minutes. Mike James got in his game late. Chris Chioza, TLC got in his game. It's awesome to see these bench guys get to be a part of this. They get to, play in the playoffs late when we close teams out. I don't know if that's going to be the case for this Bucks series, but I'm glad they got some reps for against the Celtics for, this first series. So let's go to these voicemails. And we've got 2 voicemails, but one was like, wow, long. I can't play voicemail. So here's a disclaimer. We want you guys to call in, but at the same time, the voicemails can't be 2 minutes. Like we don't have 2 minutes to give you. So let's play this first one right here, and we'll play at least a minute of it right now.
Good morning, Brooklyn. What's good, fellas? Hobby Bing. Follow me on Twitter. I called after game 4. And I said I'd be surprised if the Nets lose again. Lo and behold, gentlemen sweep. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game last night.
Oh, that's it?
Good. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful game last night. Got a little scary there, a couple of instances, but we pulled it off. Shared the ball great at the end of that game. Harden, Durant, Kyrie, of course, they stepped up in that fourth quarter. What can I say, guys, man? This has been a beautiful run. This has been an amazing run. Like I said the last time I called, I can't wait for this Bucks series. Can't wait to see Claxton clamp up Giannis. Middleton, Forbes, Drew Holiday will take care of business. Won't be easy. I would say 6-7 games.
All right, we'll stop it right there because we're going to do a whole pod tomorrow on the Bucks series and that matchup. Next voicemail comes from our guy, JJ, who was in the building last night.
Hey, Keith. Hey, Hudson. It's JJ. Keith, sorry I missed you, man, last night. Just didn't work out to see you at either a Yankees game or another Nets game. I'm on my way to work. I'm running a little bit late. But it's worth it because I got to see the Nets beat the Boston Celtics in Game 5. Not sweet, beat. I'm so tired. Game was good. Harden cooking people down south last night. I can't even remember so much. I'm so tired. Yeah, let's go Nets.
Let's go Nets. And that's all from the voicemail. Shout out to JJ. JJ sent me some videos and stuff. I still have to put the vlog together from last night. I got some videos as well. And it's just good to get into the arena. If you can get to one of these games, go. I expect the prices to go up a little bit in the second round, but it's a experience of a lifetime, honestly. If you're a Nets fan, to go and see this team live and go and see what the Brooklyn Nets organization has created, how far we've come with the Nets, it's awesome to see. Other than that, it's time to wrap this up. We'll take some questions from the chat. I see Jared in there. I see Asia in there. What up, Asia? Asia said, the Yankees won last night too. Yeah. So I got home in time to catch the post game, but I'm sitting there with Mr. Burn Notice, and he's watching the game on his phone, and the Yankees go down 2-0, and I'm immediately like, thank God I have the Nets and Talkin Nets to focus on right now because the Yankees been playing trash. But the Yankees won it late. Any questions from the chat, send them in now. I know the chat was going. There's like 20 people in here, and I saw you guys putting a lot of stuff in. We're closing the pod, so go ahead and fire off your questions now, and we'll try and answer them. Let's see. I saw
someone asked about DJ off the top, and I want to address that because we do keep getting questions about one DeAndre Jordan, and I don't know if it's a combination of like bandwagon fans who are just hopping on for this playoff run or what it is. I think people are overrating DeAndre Jordan a little bit just because they haven't seen him play, and they are like in their heads, they're like, he can't be that bad. Like, he's a big body. It's DeAndre Jordan, right? Like famous player, first team all defense, rebounds leader, all that stuff. He is. He's not good. He's not good for very long. He is going to get minutes, if I had to guess, in this Bucks series. Not a lot, might be limited, but he is going to get minutes. He might just play first quarters. He might just try and go out there to use his drop coverage on Giannis. He's going to get minutes. Don't expect much. He's not that DeAndre Jordan. He is a serviceable to below average big man that is going to get some spot minutes because he has a bigger body and can play against Giannis. That's it. Do not expect too much. He's old and he plays like it, and he can only, be out there and really be effective for so long. And that's really the end of the conversation. If he was that good, Steve Nash would be playing him, right? There'd be no conversation about it, especially earlier in the series when rebounding was such an issue. So expect to see him for a little bit, but really do not expect too much.
As far as DeAndre Jordan is concerned, I think the Nets view him as more of a liability than a solution. I know we don't have that many bigs. I know people are looking at him like when you see Robert Williams and Tristan Thompson bullying us down low, they're looking at him as an option. I expect him to possibly play in the Bucks series based off of what we saw when we played the Bucks in the regular season, I don't know, a month ago. They might put him in there for some time to throw some different looks at Giannis and Brook Lopez, but we don't need DeAndre Jordan. He's not the answer. He's not the solution. He got a DMP the whole Celtics series, and it is about matchups. We will get there, and we will talk about that tomorrow. We'll come back and talk about that tomorrow. But I'm seeing people in the chat talking about TNT and ESPN. One thing I will say is that Ryan Ruocco and Richard Jefferson do call games on ESPN, so maybe we will get them. And also, Iron Eagle, I think sometimes is on TNT, or maybe not. I don't know. I know Iron Eagle does some other things, but that's it for the Nets broadcast crew on Yes. Now we're into the Elite Eight, and we got to rock with whoever they give us, whether that's Reggie Miller or Jeff Van Gundy or Mark Jackson or Mike Breen. Who knows? That's all we've got, though. Bucks preview episode coming up tomorrow, and the first game against the Bucks is Saturday in Brooklyn. I will be in Milwaukee, which is like just some weird universe stuff. Like I'm going to Milwaukee, and like the Nets are playing Milwaukee, and I'm not going to be there. I'm not going to be in Brooklyn, but whatever. Hoping game 2 is Tuesday because I'll come back from Milwaukee Monday. I hope I can go to the game Tuesday. But like I said, we'll do a pod for you guys tomorrow, just previewing the Bucks series and talking about some other things too. I see people in the chat talking about the Sixers. Honestly, I will tell y'all this. We beat the Bucks, and I'm not worried about the Sixers. We laughed at the Sixers. And Embiid is already hurt. He fell on his ass. He's got right knee soreness. Like, wait on it. The Bucks series, this is the series coming up. And we will give you a full preview episode tomorrow. We'll also come back tomorrow and read some reviews. We need some more reviews. So make sure you guys subscribe and rate and review the pod. Call the voicemail before tomorrow. If you've got questions about the Bucks series, if you've got questions about, Jeff Green, is he going to come back for the Bucks? Are we going to see Nick Claxton start? Whatever you guys want to ask, call the voicemail. It's 201-870-0461. Follow us at Talkin Nets on Twitter, Instagram. Subscribe to the YouTube. We're also on Facebook. Everywhere that you can search Talkin Nets, make sure you're following us. And hit shop.johnboymedia.com. Get yourself a playoff shirt. My shirt should be landing when I'm landing in Milwaukee. Promo code playoffs. Throughout the playoffs, you can get 20% off these shirts. We had a shirt written in the New York Times or mentioned in the New York Times. That's another thing. I saw Marie last night. Shout out to Marie. Ran into Marie, who wrote the article that mentioned Talkin Nets and masked Bruce. So make sure you guys get a shirt. And that's all we've got. It's been a great first round. Awesome to see the Nets advance. Awesome to see the Nets step on the Celtics with our history with them. Hudson Flynn, you got anything else for the people out there?
Just tell the Celtics to enjoy Cancun, and we can leave them in our rearview mirror. Nets fans, real playoffs start this weekend. Let's get ready. We got the stress coming. We got big games coming. We got some losses potentially coming, probably, if we're being honest. So let's keep that energy. Let's be in the Barclays. Let's be loud. It's huge vibes. It's good vibes. The Nets are going to be at home for the first 2 games. Need to win those games. So if you can go to a game, please, please, please go. Get in the arena and be loud. We don't want these New York suits in there. We don't want these people watching it like they're at the movie theater. We need the real-life Nets fans. So if you can go, please go.
Yeah, it's going to be a battle. Have to have the fans, the crowd on our side, behind our team, being loud, booing Giannis, getting in these guys' heads. It might go 6 games. It might go 7 games, whatever. This is the series. We'll be back tomorrow to preview it. That's all we've got. I appreciate all you guys. It's our world, Nets world. Let's go, Nets. Brooklyn. And that's the pod. Okay. Let me make sure that's stopped on my end. And we should be good.
We
Appreciate
are
y'all
all good.
watching. Appreciate y'all tuning in as we proceed to give you what you need. Brooklyn Nets, Nets World, baby, Nets level.
Oh, I saw someone ask about the link to the merch. If you just go to shop.johnboymedia.com and then click on shows or podcasts and then click on Talkin Nets, it's all right there.
And I think the link is in some of our past YouTube videos. It says, like, if you go into the details of the YouTube videos, it says buy some merch. But also it's easy. Just go shop.johnboy.com, search the podcast. There's like 15 different podcasts. Hit Talkin Nets, look through our inventory. And when you're checking out, use promo code playoffs and it'll get you 20% off. And you can get some Talkin Nets swag. A lot of people were feeling the shirt that I wore yesterday. This is not 2013. This is 7/11/13. We are in a great time. And now I need to get this podcast edited and out, and then I got a bunch of things I got to do. But we'll be right back here tomorrow. Hudson and I will figure out a time to do a Bucks preview. We're going to give you guys back-to-back episodes because I am going to a wedding in Wisconsin this weekend, so I don't know what my internet's going to be like. I don't know what my setup's going to be like, and I don't want it to be where we give you an episode on Wednesday, and then we don't give you another episode until Tuesday. That's too long a time, especially during the playoffs. But expect some Instagram lives. And like I said, I will be in Wisconsin. Expect to see me in Wisconsin with Talkin Nets stickers and just bloop, sticking them on things that have like Fear the Deer or like Giannis on them. Like, I'm definitely going out there and leaving my energy before the Nets get there. But all right, folks, appreciate y'all. We'll see you on Twitter, Instagram, and all that. And we're out of here. Talkin Nets, baby. You already know.